interesting background, a more generic sort of background, and now we can dive more into specifics. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Peter. I am the Vice President of Minebest, not of Miningcity, and I will tell you a bit about how these two different separate companies collaborate basically as strategic partners and what is behind Minebest, okay? And I will share my screen right now. Okay, let's see. There we go. Can you see my screen? Just please raise your hand if you can see my screen. Okay, great. Okay, it's great if you have 4,000 people almost on a session. If you ask people to raise your hand, you immediately get 200 raises of hands. So that is great. Thank you very much for your timely reaction. Okay, let's start. And I wanted to basically follow up a bit on what Btcv said. And by giving you two things to think about and to keep in mind while I'll go through my presentation and while I'll explain to you what Minebest is really about. So the first question that I have for you, and obviously I'm not going to wait for your answers because there's a lot of people here, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think about this. What do you think is the most important asset somebody can have in sales? It will give you 10 seconds. Just think for it about yourself. Just think about it for yourself. And let's see if what you came up with is what I consider one of the most important assets to have in sales. Okay. So I hope you got something in your mind right now. You imagine something. And I will tell you, in my opinion, it's the following. Every day is about sales-based, right? We are confronted with sales on every corner of the street and every decision in our life, basically. Whether we are talking to a potential employer, whether we are trying to actually sell a product or a service, or whether we are actually asking for the hand of a lovely lady or a great guy, we always are, in fact, selling ourselves in a way. It's not the kind of selling out or something, but we are trying to make ourselves look good. Obviously, we're trying to, convince the other person that they can basically trust us. And this is the most important asset. It is credibility. Credibility is immensely important because before somebody will do anything with it, whether it's hiring you or marrying you or offering you a partnership or buying any kind of product or service from you, they need to trust you. Okay? They need to be sure that you are a person that they can trust and they can safely go into any kind of business or any kind of life path with you, let's say. Okay? So that is the first thing to keep in mind while I'll go through my presentation. Credibility, guys, is very, very important. The second thing that I want to talk to you about, and I want you to think about for a second, is there has been research done over the past 20 years or so by people from different areas of science, and they all came to a quite spectacular conclusion, I would say. Because they figured out that across all different industries in the world, whether it's IT industry, whether it's crypto industry, whether it's a more traditional industry as well, there is one single reason why as much as 70% of startups fail. So what does it mean? Because of this reason, 70% of businesses that start up will fail within a certain, let's say, limited period of time. Let's say a year or so, for example, right? So I want you to think about this for 10 seconds. What do you think is that single reason why 70% of startups fail? The clock is ticking. Tick, 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 tick. Okay. So some of you probably came up with, a lack of product knowledge, bad communication skills, not the right amount of capital to invest, no innovation, for example, in your product, and so forth and so on. These are all valid concerns, but they're actually not the main reason why 70% of startups fail. The main reason, the only single reason, is actually very, very simple. It is bad timing. Bad timing amounts for an enormous amount of failures in any kind of industry. Okay? So this is also something that you have to keep in mind during my presentation and also maybe during what John will say after me. about Miningcity. Okay? So let's continue. So Minebest, again, I'm the vice president of Minebest, and we are a technologically advanced infrastructure company. What do we basically do? Well, basically, we are in a strategic partnership with Miningcity, which is the network marketing system part of this, and we are, let's say, the infrastructure system, the infrastructure part. You can compare it, I always do this to make it a bit more easier to understand why two separate companies are collaborating together. It's basically a bit like you have a mobile application. When you have a mobile application, you have a front end, which is the thing that you see the visual stuff with the screen, where you can touch, and it does something, whatever you want it to do. That is the visual part. That is the front end. That is Miningcity. That is what John will talk about after. The back end, however, is the entire programming, the coding, the thing that makes everything tick-based, the thing that basically creates that when you press a certain visual button, it actually does what you want to do. It takes you to another screen, for example, right? And that is what Minebest is doing. Minebest is the backend. And whereas Miningcity, again, separate company, separate registration and support, whereas Miningcity is mostly dealing with people directly, it's mostly dealing with cryptocurrencies, Minebest is more dealing with the infrastructure behind and is very much involved with fiat money. Because we are dealing a lot with governments, with electricity providers, and support. Okay? And Minebest was started in 2017 by our CEO, Eyal Abramovich, and we are headquartered, and I'm speaking to you live from Warsaw in Poland. And what we do is we provide consumers with world-class blockchain-based products and services. Okay? And so what we do, one of the most important thing that we do, the core business basically, is the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Gold mining. These are two cryptocurrencies that we mine through our data centers, okay? To mine cryptocurrencies, you need big data centers with specialized computer equipment that will take care of this. And we started our first data center in Kazakhstan in 2018, and it was a tiny, relatively small data center of a capacity of 3 megawatts, okay? So what happened since that time, since basically a year and a half more or less, because this was towards the end of 2008. Guys, we grew many hundreds of percent actually, and currently we are one of the biggest mining operations outside of China with 4 data centers in Kazakhstan and China for a total operational capacity of 140 megawatts. So this is a very spectacular growth, and I will tell you why we grew like this, okay, in a second. But let's look at the specific data center. So one is the one in Kazakhstan of 20 megawatts. It's the one with the blue containers, as we like to call. And it has, as you can see on the right picture, all these so-called ASIC equipment, which is the specialized computers that are actually 24/7 mining, operating, and trying to get Bitcoin or Bitcoin Gold. Okay? The second facility that we have is another 20 megawatt facility in Kazakhstan, which is with the white small containers. Okay? The third one is our biggest one in Kazakhstan of 50 megawatts, and I will show you a little video of this soon. And the last one is our 50 megawatt facility in China, which we are currently expanding to 100 megawatts. Okay? So before I continue with the rest, a small video to give you a small visual impression of our biggest data center in Kazakhstan of 50 megawatts. There we go. I I am neither. And honestly, when I started in this business, I also could not really imagine how much 3 megawatt or 140 megawatt is. It's a bit of a big concept for me, really, right? Of course, by now I know, and I will share it to make it a bit easier for you to understand how much it actually is. Well, actually, 140 megawatt is sufficient energy to power 42,000 homes, or actually a small city of about 150,000 people. So that is a small city in South Africa which can be totally powered up by the electricity that we use to mine Bitcoin and Bitcoin Gold. So that gives you a bit of a better impression, perhaps. And it might not be most interesting for everybody, but it's still quite interesting to understand how this actually works. And I will make it quite easy and quite accessible by giving you the 3 steps that you need. Because guys, you cannot just plug in electricity from a big power plant into the ASIC computers, so the computers that are actually mining the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Gold. No, you need to go through a lot of steps, because otherwise all these machines would just explode. So you need to build different stages in between. You need to build a substation in between the power plant and the containers, and also the transformers. So the power plant on the left picture that you see has a capacity of 4 gigawatts, but it has high voltage electricity. Can't plug it in directly, okay? So it goes through a substation that changes high voltage into medium voltage, and that substation takes the medium voltage electricity to the transformers on the right picture, which will actually change this into low voltage. And only then can you actually plug the electricity into the machines. And then you can start using these machines on a 24/7 basis. And why am I telling you this? Because it is very important to understand that behind the front end of Miningcity, there is a back end which is called Minebest, which has invested more than $150 million last year in infrastructure. Because guys, we need to build many times these substations and transformers ourselves. Okay? We need to get the containers ourselves. We need to negotiate that with the government. We need to negotiate with the electricity providers. We need to make long-term deals. We need to do the logistics. We need to import all of these machines into the country. We need to pay taxes. We need to pay the import fees and so forth. We need to do the maintenance. We need to plug them in. We need to test them and so forth and so forth. That is a huge operation, guys. And this is actually something that is related to what I asked you at the beginning, or the first question. What is one of the most important assets in sales? Well, it's credibility. And this is exactly what Minebest is very much providing to Miningcity, okay? The credibility that there is a serious company behind this which is investing a lot of money into the infrastructure and has a big team. Because, again, as Btcv said as well very correctly, there is no I in team. It's very trivial as well, but it's absolutely true. Okay. One other thing which is important for you guys to realize right now, we all know that we're still sort of in this coronavirus time right now. It's getting better slightly, we're opening up, but still a lot of companies are hampered in their operations and so forth. Guys, with us, there's absolutely no problem. Everything is working perfectly fine. We're totally COVID-19 proof. Fortunately, the mining operations are running completely smoothly. And I will add to this regardless of the weather conditions, because in Kazakhstan, it can get very nasty. Okay, these are actual pictures from not far from our facilities in Kazakhstan this January. Okay, so this is what actually happened. People couldn't find their cars in the snow. This is pretty insane. But even during these kind of conditions, our facilities were still up and running. Okay, so what is in store in the next future? So we are expanding, of course, constantly, because we need to keep up with the growth demand of Miningcity as well. So we need to make sure that there is actually mining happening behind the scenes that is covering Miningcity expansion. So currently, as we have 140 megawatts, as you know, so we will expand another 170 megawatts in Kazakhstan. The China data center is being expanded with an additional 50 megawatts for a total of 100 megawatt operational capacity, and we are currently expanding in another geographic area, but I can't say the country name yet, for a further 20 megawatts. So by the end of Q3, the total capacity plan is almost 400 megawatts. That is an insane amount. And what else did we do over the last few months when, a lot of companies were actually not investing, a lot of companies were trying to defend their positions only. No, we were quite aggressive in the coronavirus time. We believed that there is going to be opportunities, that this will finish, that we will all come out of this. that we use at our Chinese data center, and most of our ASICs have actually switched by now from mining Bitcoin to Bitcoin Gold, which is one of the cryptocurrencies that Minebest is supporting very strongly. Okay? So, and just as a last thing, it's the last technical thing that we'll mention to you, the machines that we use are among the most efficient and next generation machines that are on the market right now. They are the Silicon G3 Plus and the Wattminer N21S. And when you think about these machines, you need to look at two numbers, the first one and the second one. The first one is the expression of the power of the computer to do computations. It's expressed in terahash per second. So the one on the left has 57 terahash per second, the one on the right 56. And the second number is the watts usage, so it's the electricity consumption basically. And that is 3,300 watts or 3,360 watts. And how can you measure which machine is the most efficient? Well, as the higher the first number and the lower the second number, the more efficient and the more profitable the machine is, okay, to operate. Okay, so that's actually quite simple in the end. So how do we compare to the competition? I know, Best is not biggest, and we certainly didn't start out as the biggest, as we said, correct? But by now, we have indeed become one of the biggest mining operations outside of China, and this is very much due to the fact that we have been looking forward, we have been making very good strategic deals, we have very low electricity costs, and that is one of the main important things in any kind of mining operation. So by now, we have actually become, by being the best, we have actually become one of the biggest, at least outside of China. Okay? So, and we are constantly expanding because it's not just about the machine. It's not just about the infrastructure. No, it's even much more about the team. And guys, trust me, you will see my face sometimes, you will see Ayo's face sometimes, you will see a few other people from the company. But there is a lot of people working very hard, 24/7 behind the scenes. And these people you will probably not see. But that doesn't mean that they're not doing a superb job, actually. And they're making sure that everything is running smoothly. Every week, literally, we're getting these kind of messages on our internal WhatsApp group right now. We are currently employing more than 130 people already in our headquarters in Warsaw, and there is currently about 50 plus open positions. So we are growing very, very rapidly, and every week we are welcoming new people like in these messages that I copied in here. Okay? So we are expanding very, very, very strongly, and we are currently still working remotely because still the lockdown is slightly in place in Poland. It's loosening up, so we're getting ready to finally move into our new office, which you will see some new pictures here. It's not yet in use. It will probably be the beginning of July. We keep postponing it due to several constraints in regards to the corona, but we're moving there soon, okay? And we will be working from there. Apart from hiring people and employing people in Warsaw, in our headquarters, we have another 70, 80, 90 people around the world, in Kazakhstan, in China, in Korea, in Japan. So more than 200 people, and even if you calculate in different ways, almost close to 300 people are actually making sure that all of this runs like clockwork, okay? And by now, as we have been very successful in growing, and we have had the biggest growth in the industry, we are by now recognized as an industry leader. We're being asked for interviews, we're being asked for panels, we're being asked as experts, and trust me, it was not the case at the end of 2018 when we were just a small incumbent company that basically almost nobody knew about yet. Okay? But our main strategy is to always be cheaper than 80% of the market because we are actually in the 20% cheapest mining operations in the world because of a low electricity cost. And we intend to keep this very simple strategy. The more simple the strategy is, usually the better it works. And this also goes for Minebest. Okay, so our strength in summary again. So very capital intensive, advanced infrastructure, low electricity costs. We have a very dedicated team of more than 200 people worldwide. We have worked very hard on brand recognition. We have actually, I forgot to tell you about this, we have traveled all around the world to some of the very, very big blockchain conferences. We have sponsored them as top sponsors of these blockchain conferences. We have literally been traveling. I have literally lived on a plane over the last year and a half, more or less. And I guess Corona gave me a bit of rest. So in that sense, it was a positive side effect, let's say. But we have really worked very hard in establishing this brand recognition as a global industry leader, and there have been other people as well, not just me, obviously, traveling. We have a whole team, and I'm very, very proud to say that we have really managed something pretty impressive over the last 1 year and a half. So the big thing is modern, highly efficient ASIC equipment. And finally, guys, we're not just doing Bitcoin and Bitcoin Gold mining. As I mentioned to you before, hopefully, or maybe I forgot, Eyal Abramovich is actually an engineer by education. He's an inventor, and he has been working on a lot of very successful inventions already in the past. And one of his keen interests as part of Minebest is to, and one of his vision as well, is to develop also other things outside of the core industry, which is basically mining of cryptocurrencies. So one of the things that we have done is a smartphone, which is called the Minebest Smile S1, and this can be part of something that can be gained via Miningcity, which I think John will maybe say something about. This is an incredible smartphone which has screens on both sides, very, very innovative and unique. Another thing, and guys, I think this is one of the first times that we are actually showing this live. We are currently working on something which is called the luxury urban vehicle, and it's going to be called the Lia Gabriel, and you can check the website for yourself if you want. This is going to be the future of city transport as well. So this is something that we're working on outside of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Gold mining, and we have a whole dedicated R&D team to do this. Very spectacular and pretty intense, I would say. We're also working on our own ASIC miners to be completely independent of manufacturers that have sometimes delays, that have very high prices, that raise their prices suddenly and so forth. So there's a lot of other things going on behind the screens, behind the scenes. Okay, now the last thing. I know that probably a lot of you are quite new, and John will tell you a bit more about Bitcoin Gold, which is the second cryptocurrency that we mine and that we support very strongly. But let me tell you also something about Bitcoin Gold. Everybody knows Bitcoin here, I assume, right? I mean, that's why you are on this meeting and you are fascinated by Bitcoin. It is indeed a fascinating technology, and it started about 10 years ago. But of course, you know, as everything that is new, it lives its own life, and then slowly people start to discover that there are some things that might be improved, right? And one of the things that we believe can be improved, and that is why we are supporting Bitcoin Gold, is the safety feature. Because a lot of Bitcoins have been lost due to theft, basically, over the past years. And I think in 2019 it was equivalent to the value of $4 billion that was actually lost due to theft. And this is because hackers go into wallets, for example, or maybe it can also be because people simply make mistakes when they do a transaction. And this is one of the things that the creators of this coin decided that can be improved upon Bitcoin, right? And one of the main features of Bitcoin Gold is exactly this. And I will come back to this in 1 second. But let's first look at the performance of Bitcoin Gold, because Bitcoin Gold is a coin which is on the crypto markets, right? It's being traded, it's on exchanges, and let me just give you a face-to-face comparison of what happened in May, for example, with Bitcoin Gold in comparison to Bitcoin. And these are actual numbers, just facts. Okay? You can look them up on CoinMarketCap, which is the most famous website in terms of checking out cryptocurrencies and their ranking and their market cap and so forth. So Bitcoin Gold, which is short for Btcv, that is the acronym that is being used for Bitcoin Gold, started out on May the 1st. I mean, it was launched, by the way, on exchanges in December of last year. That is when it first appeared on exchanges. On May the 1st, and actually at that point, it was about $1. That was the rate where it was launched at, more or less. And May the 1st, it was $87. Okay, that is 5 months after launch, basically, or even 4 months almost after launch. On May the 30th, so 1 month later, it had grown to $175. That is a gain of 101%. That is pretty spectacular. If you compare it to below, which is very respectable as well. 8% is a very good return on investment. If you look at that, if you put some money on Bitcoin, 8%, it's great. But, it's being shattered by the growth of Bitcoin Gold in the last month. And this reflects in the worth of Bitcoin Gold as compared to Bitcoin. That goes up as well, as you can see on the right-hand side. Okay, by now, Bitcoin Gold is almost $270. Okay, so we're talking literally 2 weeks later, and it's almost $270. And I'm not trying to push anything here, whatever. This is absolutely not a sales thing. I am just demonstrating you what Minebest is doing behind the scenes, and I'm just showing you some of the facts. Okay, and please educate yourself, because before you take any decisions regarding Miningcity, go online, check out all the stuff that you can about this, and make sure that you know what you're getting into. Right? If you want to follow up on what John will be saying. But I think it's really important to hear also the backbone of all of this, right? So what is being done by Minebest? It is supporting the build-up of the economy of a whole ecosystem around this cryptocurrency, which is called Bitcoin Gold. Okay, one of the things is obviously wallets. There is currently wallets available for desktop versions, for Android versions, which is called Gold Wallet or Electrum Gold Wallet. As said, Bitcoin Gold is listed already on these 4 big exchanges and also on 2 other exchanges that listed Bitcoin Gold by themselves because they were quite interested in the trading volume of Bitcoin Gold. But Coinio, Liquid, MXC, and Btcv are 4 of the big exchanges where Bitcoin Gold is being traded currently. So, and also, of course, there is a whole mining operation behind this. I mean, I'm the first one to talk about this because that is mostly what Minebest is doing, obviously. As you can see, the network summary, this is already from about a month ago. It's already higher. If you look at the hash rate, which is in yellow, that shows the total number of computing power that is being used to mine Bitcoin Gold around the world. And actually, it is bigger than Bitcoin Cash, for example. And if some of you are aware of cryptocurrencies, you know that Bitcoin Cash is among the top 10 cryptocurrencies in the world. And the mining power that Bitcoin Cash is being used the mining power that is being used to mine Bitcoin Cash is actually lower than the one that is being used right now to mine Bitcoin Gold. So that is also a very important indication, I would say. The market cap also, this is also already from about 2 weeks ago, this data. The market cap is already higher than $1 billion, but it's not shown on CoinMarketCap because it is very important that this thing grows organically and it does not become an out of control snowball. Obviously, eventually there is going to be a snowball effect. People will start to mine this, people will start to trade this even more than they're doing currently, and a lot of extra interest will come into this coin. But right now, it is much better that the coin grows organically, and it's doing very well at this point, okay? In terms of growth and the community and the ecosystem that is being built around the coin. But this market cap, as it stands right now, which is close to $1.5 billion, if this market cap would be published on CoinMarketCap right now, it would already be in the top 20 of coins in the world. Okay, so that's very important to remember. So I told you about the beginning about the unique feature of Bitcoin Gold, which improves upon Bitcoin. This is it. This is this unique feature. Guys, what is it? It is the possibility to reverse transactions. It is a unique feature. It does not exist in any other cryptocurrency. It gives you the possibility. For example, if you make a mistake during a transaction with Bitcoin, what happens? Your money is gone. Your Bitcoin is gone. You cannot recover it. Okay? If somebody hacks your wallet and transfers your money to another wallet, you cannot get that Bitcoin back from that other wallet. It is done. It's on the blockchain. It's being added as a block. It is irreversible. Bitcoin Gold introduces a unique feature which makes these transactions reversible, because what it does, it gives you a 3-key structure. It gives you a key that you can use for a stranded transaction, and a standard transaction with Bitcoin Gold means that this transaction will be put on hold for 24 hours. And if you do not reverse the transaction within 24 hours, then it's irreversible. But if you make a mistake or somebody hacks into your wallet and you want to reverse this transaction, then you can do so with another key that is the recovery key. Okay? But you have to do it within 24 hours. This is a very, very interesting thing. And this is definitely something unique in the cryptocurrency climate right now. And we believe that this gives people a lot of psychological safety, because because a lot of people that are not so accustomed right now to cryptocurrency, they're hearing all these horror stories about, people losing their money, people forgetting the password, they're being hacked, making a bad transaction and losing a Bitcoin, for example, which is worth a lot of money currently, right? So this is those people especially, and also already seasoned investors or seasoned people within the cryptocurrency space, an extra feeling of security. But Bitcoin Gold can also be used, and this makes Bitcoin Gold very cool, I think, is it can be used as a safe storage, electronic storage of value because of this extra security, because of the reversibility of the transactions. But it can also be used with a separate third key as a normal sort of transaction, cryptocurrency, just like with Bitcoin. So fast transactions that basically get confirmed within a few minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes or so, right? And that will also be possible with Bitcoin Gold. And all of currently, the third key is operational for people that are using Bitcoin Gold, so they can do the fast transactions. And the first and the second key, the extra security keys, are still being coded, and they should be ready within, I don't want to promise too much, but probably a month, maybe 2 months. So anyway, very soon, they should be ready, and then the Bitcoin Vault is fully operational with its security features, and it will be the electronic store of value that it was intended for, and it will also be a fast transaction cryptocurrency. Okay? I skipped that previous one because I don't want to dive into too much details right now. I don't think it's necessary. However, there is two other things I want to tell you about the development plans of Minebest, because Minebest, cryptocurrency is a very deregulated industry. It's a very much a cowboy industry. It has been from the very beginning, but it's maturing. And like every maturing industry, it's becoming more secure and it's becoming more safe. And this is very important, and we feel as Minebest, we really want to add to this. It has been from the very start one of our main things that we are focused on, to make sure that cloud mining and the mining industry as a whole improves on its image, on its public image. Because as we all know, there have been scams in the past that are connected with, with the mining industry or crypto industry, and this is something that should be abolished completely from now on. Basically, it doesn't have space anymore in a mature industry. There is no space for this kind of fraudulent activities, right? And so one of the things that we are developing to add to this extra security and to improve the image of the industry as a whole is an application which is called Proof of Mine. And the application has two features. The first feature is it gives you a reward calculator. It's a calculator that this is not unique. This is already existent on the web and so forth. You can check it for yourself. But it basically gives you the possibility to calculate what your mining rewards should be if you are a member of a pool, if you're a member of a cloud mining system, and it gives you, based on the coin price and the hash rate of the network and the reward and so forth, it gives you the possibility to calculate what you should be getting in mining rewards. But that is not the unique part. The unique part of this application is the reward verification. Because what does the reward verificator do? Well, it verifies what is the source of the mining rewards that you are obtaining. Is this coming directly from a mining source, or is this being transferred from one wallet to another wallet and so forth? And is this basically coming potentially from a scam? Because, for example, somebody is just having some kind of money somewhere and it's just paying people and pretending it to be mining rewards, right? So that would be a scam in a way. So it gives you the opportunity to verify whether the mining rewards come from a legitimate source or they're coming from a scam source. And this is definitely something that can revolutionize the industry as well and make it much more safe for all the participants. Okay? And this is something that Minebest is also developing. And the final thing, and I'm not going to go too much into detail because this is also relatively technical. The final thing is that Bitcoin Gold will be the first coin actually to mine with a new industry mining standard. It's called the Decentralized Digital Mining Standard. And the main aim of this DDMS, as we call it, is to protect against so-called 51% attacks. What are 51% attacks? It's quite simple, really. It means that one entity or a few entities control more than 50% mine a certain cryptocurrency. Because if they have this, they can basically disrupt the mining. They can basically control the blockchain. And this use can lead, and it has, these things have happened in the past actually, it can lead to tremendous loss of image for a certain cryptocurrency and just trust in the cryptocurrency. And it can have even more nasty effects. So one of the main reasons why we are working on the decentralized digital mining standard is to protect against these 51% attacks, and Bitcoin Gold will be the first coin to join this new industry mining standard. And as you can see, this is a roadmap. Again, the launch was at the very last 2 weeks of December of last year. The wallets are being built, the exchanges, there's 4 plus 2 other exchanges that Bitcoin Gold is listed on. And as said, the 3 keys will be ready in the next max 2 months. DDMS, hopefully, and proof of mind should be ready also in Q3, and then we will launch a global PR campaign in Q4. That is the plan, at least for now, in Q4 to basically do global PR for Bitcoin Gold, and then the coin market cap will be officially revealed as well. Okay, guys, so I know this has been a lot of information, and maybe you're still not completely sure what is it this is all leading up to, because you haven't heard yet about Miningcity, but John will tell you about this for sure. I just want to tell you one thing, and I want to reflect on what I said at the very beginning, my second question, really. And the second question was, what is the main reason, or the single reason actually, why 70% of startups fail? It is bad timing. Guys, in everything that you do in life, it's very much about timing. It's very much about intuition. Unfortunately, timing is not an exact science. Of course, it helps to get prepared, to educate yourself, to analyze things. And this is something that I certainly would encourage you to do. Analyze, invest time in reading about stuff, look up things online, make up your own opinion. But very important is that timing is something that unfortunately you cannot completely influence, right? Because sometimes you're ahead of the curve, and then basically nobody believes in what you're, making, selling, doing, whatever. And sometimes you're at the end of the curve, and then basically everybody has done this already, and you're just one of the next. So nobody's really paying attention to you anymore, right? So you've got to be somewhere in the golden middle, as they always say. And the thing is that Minebest and Miningcity is a very, very strategic collaboration, where again, Miningcity, separate company, is the front end operation, and Minebest is the whole infrastructure. But together with cryptocurrency, which is going as strong, and this is just fact, you can look it up, historical records, which is going as strong as Bitcoin Gold, this is a pretty good timing to become interested, at least, in what Minebest has to offer, and also Miningcity, of course, and Bitcoin Gold. So guys, again, my name is Peter, Vice President of Minebest. I hope you enjoyed this. I don't know where all of you guys are from. I don't know if this time we're talking mainly to Africa, or if there is people from other countries in the world. But wherever you are located, I probably have been to your country, and I will tell you, we all face the same problems in our daily lives.